What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of the Ring show. If you do not know who I am, then that means you are not subscribed. And if you are not subscribed, you are missing so many great episodes. And like I just said, there will be another video posted, or it should be posted because I just filmed it with my dad, a PPW Aftermath show. So go and check that out. But like I was saying in that one, there are so many great shows and great episodes and podcast dates coming up for July. I am so excited. But we are a little late, and I'm sorry about that, guys, but it's okay. But our guest for today, I'm not even going to attempt to say the beginning part because I know I'm going to mess it up. But let's just give a warm welcome to Ronii.
Hi,
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Can you tell us how to pronounce like that first part?
So it's la,
Well,
the obvious.
yeah,
And
la.
then instead of it being, everyone thinks it's fantasia, but if you say it in Spanish, it's the Spanish version of fantasy. So it's Fanta, like the soda, and then sia, like see you later.
Okay, la fantasia.
There you go.
Close enough, I guess. So we usually always start with like who or what got you into wrestling.
Ooh. So, who got me into wrestling was actually my late grandfather, who, when I was a baby, and he would actually take me to live events. And then the older that I got, obviously everyone grew up with like WWF and WCW and then ECW. So there was just a lot of things I grew up watching with my grandfather. And yeah.
Okay. And so who trained you?
So I started training at Sanctuary Sun Studios here in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, under the name with my trainer. His name was John Patrick Trotsky. I started training with him, and then once I grew from his school, I was just going everywhere else to be trained and be knowledgeable from others. So I learned a lot of different styles of wrestling, but I was mostly trained because I was in school, training school for years with John Patrick Strosky at Sanctuary Sun Studios.
Okay. And so how long would you say like you trained before you got like a real match in front of like a crowd?
Oh, like 4 years.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that but
yeah.
like at least in like that time frame you got lots of like practice, so it's not like you're going out there and like
Yeah, so my first debut match wasn't even a match because I actually was, you know how they say pay your dues? No, it's
yeah.
not. It's actually, let me put those fingers down. Yes, pay your. I actually paid my dues for like 2 years before I ever stepped foot in the ring. I wanted to prove to him that I was actually interested in wrestling and not that I was just trying to get in the ring for attention or anything like that. So I would clean the bathrooms, clean the ring, set it up, take it down, fix the mat, clean the bathroom, clean the office, cut the grass outside. Like there were so many things that I used to do. And then on top of that, it was dedication because I was actually in college. So I was 2 hours away when I started my training. So I would go to college in Philadelphia, and I would get on the bus and then just take a 2 to 3 hour drive back to Hazleton, Pennsylvania every Friday for 2 years straight. So
That's
imagine how much money I was spent just go to.
that that definitely is a lot. And like that's how it is now, like because I'm 16, so I can do like training, like if I want to be a wrestler, and even if I don't want to be a wrestler and like do management or something, I can get involved now. But like there's no close training schools like in the Hazleton area. So like there's one in Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania, and like that's an hour and a half, and like it's worth it. But
Wait, do
like,
you live in?
yep, in
I,
Hazleton area.
oh my god! Oh, we need a.
Yeah, my dad has followed you for so long. I think he's seen you at the sanctuary, and he's like, "Oh my god, there's this wrestler that you have to get on." And I was like, "Okay, let me just try," because not a lot of wrestlers are open to like coming on the podcast. So I'm like, "Okay, well, would you like to come on?" And you were so sweet. You were like, "Of course."
Yeah. Listen, I am a sucker for when, like, I really love when the youth or even like fans when they're at shows. I love it when they're not afraid to come up and say hello. I tell everyone, listen, I'm just like you. I have a day-to-day job. It's just my dream job would be to wrestle on, on TV and be a part of WWE and be a part of AEW and all the like go to New Japan. Like all of that is every wrestler's dream. And I'm just your typical little old me. But you guys just have fun when I put on my gear, and I'm a whole new other person outside of who a fantasia is in the ring.
Yeah, and it's like wrestling's kind of like a vacation from like life. You just go into a different life and you don't have to have no fears. You don't have to worry about bills and drama.
Oh,
So it's like, I mean, not
it,
even
it,
as a wrestler, it's like
I,
it's still good.
I, I really do call wrestling my therapy because in no one's day-to-day life is perfect. So there's many moments in my life where I even second guess who I am as the woman that I am today and everything. So I see wrestling as not only very therapeutic, but it's something that's very healing to me. So even when I'm like in the car with my gear bag, like just sitting in the back, like just me knowing, okay, I'm going to a show. The show may not be the best thing, but the moment that I put my gear on, that I'm like, okay, it's time. Yes, I'm always nervous, but I'm always so ready to just let everything else outside just go away for like at least those 10 minutes of my match.
Honestly, I mean, like, I just went to a show, obviously, this past Saturday, and like, I haven't been able to get to a show because I've like been working so much since school's let out, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm having like separation anxiety from a wrestling. I need to get back to a show because it's been too long. Like,
I
I
know
don't care. A month is a long time for me.
I had my last match was actually May 27th because the show that I was actually supposed to do this week and unfortunately got canceled. But I didn't take too much bookings July because it is Pride Month, so I'm trying to be around my LGBT community and continue to support everyone and be there for women's rights and all the things that are horrible going on in the world. So I'm just like I've dedicated a lot to just being around positivity this month with a lot of ups and downs that everybody goes through in their day-to-day life. So I'm just trying to, I had my show this month and it got canceled. But I will be wrestling July 1st and I cannot wait.
Okay, okay, that's good though. Like, even if you don't get to do wrestling, you got to do what makes you happy. And if going to like all this happy space stuff for you, that's great. That's great for you. And so I kind of mentioned my dad before. Obviously, he's in the chat chanting your name because that's what he does best.
Uh,
Thanks to my dad for being like, oh my god, there's this amazing wrestler. I think you should get on. I was like, okay. And like that's what kind of happened this past weekend at PPW. There's a wrestler called Wrecking Ball Lagursky or something like that. And like he is big. And me, I am tiny. So I went up to him. I was like, hello. Would you like to come on my podcast? And like he kind of looks like a heel, but like he's not. And I was like, oh my god, he's gonna say no. He's gonna crush all my dreams. He's like, you're so sweet, of course.
everyone do not. Do you know how many DMs I have of like fans that were like, oh, when I see you in gear, like I'm scared to come up to you. And I'm just like, why? They're like, because the way you do your makeup and how your hair is and how you dress. I'm like, you guys, that's just gear. You guys can easily hug me and I will take pictures, sign. Like I am not that type of person to, just be like, oh, don't touch me. I may look evil. I'm not evil. And even on the day-to-day life, if you run into the store, please walk up to me and say hi.
Exactly. I mean, some people I think just have the face, and some are like they look so nice, but it could be the biggest plot twist, and they could be like so mean. So it's
Yeah.
cool to see that. So if people don't know, are you more of like a heel or a baby face?
So I should be more of a heel, but the fans won't let me. You guys won't let me. I'm trying to live my life, but no, the fans won't let me. So I've been mostly babyface for a while.
I don't know. I love, like, in person. I even on here, I'm like a baby face. I will never be mean to anybody. But there's a wrestler, and like his name is the like Rembrandt. I love Rembrandt, and like he knows how much love I have for him. But he's supposed to be a heel because he used to wrestle with Cosmic, and Cosmic was a heel. And like this past weekend, he came out and he was a baby face, and I was like, I'm not. You can't do this. You got to go back to being a heel because this is just not. It's not working out for us.
I know. I was actually a heel for a match at the beginning of this year, and I actually had a fan who been a fan of mine for like since the beginning, Sanctuary days, and he actually came up to me. He was very young when I started when I debuted in the indie scene. So now he's like about to go into high school, and I'm like, wow, thanks. But actually is about to be a freshman in high school, and he actually came up to me, and I was the heel of the match, and he actually said to me, he was like, yeah, you know, he was like, no, you scare me as heel, so don't do it. I was like, oh, it's acting. I'm an actor, but I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer, but I'm a diehard wrestler. So you better believe the story.
Exactly. And I mean, like, that's how it was. Like, I'm all for Rembrandt being a baby face, but like, it's for some people, but he has that face, like, in the ring, like, he just looks like a jerk. So I'm like, listen, I love you, but you can't do this. You have to be a heel. It's not good.
Right.
Like, some people, like I said, they have the face of like, okay, they definitely look like a heel. Like, he has that heel face, but like outside the ring, he is so sweet. But I'm like, no. The
That's all that
crowd,
counts. They're sweet,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, remember, he knows. I talk about him all the time. He needs to, and I tell him 1,000 times. I text him. I'm like, no, you can't do this. You got to go back to being a heel. Like when the crowd hated you, because like when the crowd hated him, I was that one fan that's like, oh my god, remember? And like he would always be like, he would only come to me, and I was like, I'm all for it. Now he's a baby face, and he's giving everyone high fives. I'm like, you can't do this to me. We're supposed to be friends.
There you go.
So, what would you say is your favorite thing about wrestling?
Oh, everything. I can't say everything. There is a lot of ups and downs, especially being a LGBTQ member and a woman in this industry. It gets really hard at one point, but as long as you know your worth, and as long as you know that this is your passion and you see yourself as the star that you know you want to be, then if you believe in yourself as a star, everybody else will believe in you as a star. If you take care of yourself like a star, they will see you like a star. So I learned that the hard way at the beginning of my career, and this is why till this day I stand very, my foot ground. I love everything about wrestling because it taught me to be creative even more than what I've always been my whole life. It opened a new door for me in ways where I didn't think that I can combine. I'm a singer and dancer and actor. So I didn't think that I can combine all three into one. I always saw myself in a ring, but never in a way where I was like the dominant female in the ring. I always used to see myself as the Trish Stratus, but I would always idolize China. And then I would see myself as the Melina. And then I wanted to be like Charlotte Flair for like a few seconds. I have to say Charlotte Flair now because her and Rhea are like super dominant, and power to them.
I love Rhea Ripley. She's another one. Her and Dominic, every time I see Dominic Mysterio, I'm like, oh, look at us, my Dome. He's the best. I love him. He's like, that whole storyline is amazing. Like, I'm all for it. So, but no, definitely.
I can't wait for WWE to give Zelina Vega a push.
Oh my gosh, I love her too.
Right now, I feel like she's probably the most underrated star other than Dana Brooke. I feel like WWE needs to give Dana and Zelina Vega a push because both women are extremely athletic. They can perform, they can act, but they just haven't been given that proper push. So I'm just waiting for WWE to do it. Come on, WWE, get on it.
Exactly. Like you said, you gotta like you can't be like, I don't know, you kind of worded it better than I would, but like you said, you go out there and you're like, you're dominant. And like, that's the thing, like, you got to put on, like, you look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm a bad bitch and I'm going to go out there and kick some ass. And I don't care how anybody feels. So, all props to you.
Is
And I
that
say,
is that you, Beauty? Oh my God. No. I told before, like, I actually had a wrestler that said, no, she faced me. I forgot who it was. I apologize. I'm really bad with names because I know people's real names, but when it comes to in-ring name, I'm like, what's your name again? What
that
was it? What
is,
was your stage name? But I actually had a match with a female a while ago, and backstage she was like, "Oh, you're the biggest sweetheart." She was, once your music hit and you walked out, I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "You got scared?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, my job is done. It has been complete."
oh my god, that is totally how it is. Cause like I'm not just a fan anymore. I'm like involved in actually the wrestling. So I know the difference
Yeah.
between their real name and like their wrestling name. And it's so hard because like my brother, his name is Nolan Pierce in the ring. And I have such the habit of calling him his other name. And like every time I just did it this past Saturday at the show, he's like, Harley, you can't say that here. There's fans here. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. It's a habit. I can't control it.
Right.
It's like, what is your name? Like, he has two
I'm,
names. His name's
I'm
Nolan.
grateful that at least in my name, I have my actual birth name, which is Ronnie. So, and I was actually going to change it. It's crazy. Isn't that, this is hilarious. And I'll give you a little backstory about how I chose my name. So when I started wrestling, everyone always told me, you need to pick a name that's not your name. And I remember I went through like 4 names, and I was like, while we were doing like our training matches, I would use names just to see what would fit. One time it was, my name was Iris. And I was like, ooh, Iris. And then I forgot that I had a friend in high school named Iris. And I was like, ooh, I can't use that. Mm-mm, mm-mm. So then afterwards, my name was Melrose. And it was nice because at the time, I had really bright, long red hair. So everyone was like, ooh, Rose. And I was like, yeah, but a lot of girls walk out with a rose nowadays. So let's not. And then I dyed my hair back to black. And this was like early Sanctuary days. This was like way before I even debuted. And I was like, you guys, I just like my name. I don't like any other name. So what happened was during the pandemic, I sat down with a friend and we were just talking about like what can I do to elevate my in-ring persona. And there is I don't know if it's HBO now or just called Max. I don't know what these apps, you guys, social media, I'm too old for this. But I was watching a series on HBO Max, and it was called La Veneno. It is based on a true story. It's actors that were reenacting the life of a past iconic woman in the LGBT community who was from Spain. And I was going to take the name La Veneno, like the poison. That's what it's called in Spanish. In Spanish is La Veneno, in English it's the poison. I was gonna take that and like pay tribute to her in the ring. But then there was incidents that happened in my career where I had men from previous promoters tell me that I would never be taken serious because of me being a female. And I'm super short. Everyone thinks I'm tall. No, you guys, I'm literally 5'2", 5'3" on a good day. So I'm super short. I'm tiny as heck. So one kick, I'm down. But in the ring, no. And in personal life, don't play with me. But when it comes to my name, I actually, like, because of the woman that I am, me being a proud trans woman and proud LGBTQ member, I was always told you're never going to be nothing other than, they told me I would never be nothing other than a manager in the ring. And I was like, a manager? I've never managed anybody. So, and then they told me, oh, because you're trans, you will only be viewed as a fantasy. So it wasn't until one day during the pandemic, I was like, fantasy. I'm going to take this negative word in a negative way that you said it, and I'm going to flip it and make it into something special. I'm Latina. So me being Spanish, I was like, I'm not going to walk out and be like, the fantasy. So I was like, no, I'm going to say it in Spanish. La fantasia. And then I just kept Ronnie because I was like, now, if you can't address me as La Fantasia, you're going to address me by Ronnie. So that's how my name came about, and it just stuck. It just stuck. It felt right. And I've stayed with it because, and I trademarked it too. I had no choice but to, because I was seeing people were trying to use the English version, and I was like, no, 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 no. I was the first. Let's not. So I made sure to always be good with who I am. And I wanted to pick a name to stay true to who I was.
Man, you just said it so great. I mean, some men, they think because they a man, like they think they better. I'm like, no, bitch. Women empowerment, and you gonna catch my hands. Like, I'm not old enough yet to be in that ring with you, but trust and believe, the day I turn 18, I don't care if it's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'm gonna be in that ring, and we gonna have some problems.
Oh, I'll tell you this, and I'm trying to not curse because I'm very lazy on a good day. But I really don't like. I'm someone that, because I've learned from a young age. Remember, I'm 27. I started being around wrestling when I was 18. So I'm about to hit my 10-year anniversary soon, about just being around wrestling. But in the ring, I actually just had my anniversary. Was it 8 years? I think it's been 8 years. Because my first debut, I didn't have any knowledge of training. The only thing I knew how to do was take a bump and jump over the top rope. So my first ever debut match, it wasn't really a debut. It was more of just a cat fight with another female. And then we just tossed each other over the top rope because all the guys came in. That was my debut into a ring. So it was crazy.
Oh my gosh, we have a little cat fight. This cat wants to fight for real. Don't. She's a savage. She puts on this, oh my god, I'm such a baby. Like, she just turned 1 like a couple weeks ago. I'm like, girl, you a savage. Like, there's sounds on TikToks that like make her go nuts. And out of everyone in my house, she only attacks me when she hears them. I'm like, girl, I feed you, I clean your litter box. But that was our daily
cat fight you.
Yeah, so literally cat fight. So that was our daily dose of cat for today. But don't be fooled. She's a savage.
Oh my god.
No, but definitely. So we said like your favorite thing about wrestling, and we transferred into like your name and like the history of that. But like obviously, other than like people being people, what would you say is like, what are some other like hard things about wrestling for you?
Wait, say that question one more time. I got completely lost for 4 seconds.
It's okay. So, what are like some hard things about wrestling for you?
Ooh, distance. Traveling. Traveling has been the hardest thing to do, because when you're with someone in wrestling, like when you're dating or you have a bunch of friends that are wrestlers, it gets easy because you never travel alone. But when you are alone, it's very difficult, because there's sometimes that we do 4-hour drives, 5-hour drives. Sometimes we do 16-hour drives. Like, we go from state to state. So it gets really hard to, like, that's one of the biggest thing. And then nowadays, ever since the pandemic, the wrestling industry kind of got very sensitive. So yeah. So nowadays it's really hard to get booked correctly because they don't want to pay you your pay rate. And I'm a very huge advocate in, hey, if I'm traveling for 2 hours, you're going to pay me like at least a decent amount. You're not just going to pay me $40 or $20 and high five. Like, sweetie, if I have to pay more to get there, I should at least be either making the same amount back or even more, depending on what you're providing for me or what I need to provide for you.
Most definitely. And like that's such like I don't even think it's just like in wrestling. Like the world itself is so touchy with like every topic. Like you say one thing that's gonna be held against you for so long. But
Oh
like
yeah,
the whole
they
thing.
bring everything. Yeah, they use it again. You can say, I thought, not the cat
I
dying.
I told you this cat is a savage.
My God, not the.
Y'all heard that. That cat I have two cats, but the one I showed.
My God, I feel like I'm in Noob's top five. You know what Noob's top five is? Girl, you got a demon in your back. Ooh, I'm gonna pray for you.
I told you guys, these cats, they look like they're so sweet. I don't even know what happened. Like all I've seen is the one go like right across over there, and I'm like, oh well, whatever happened, happened. But yeah, the world is very touchy with everything. Like even for colleges, like if you say something when you're like 12 on social media, they will hold that against you. Or even in the wrestling business, there was a wrestler that like said something when he was like 18 and he's like 30 now, and they still hold that against him. I'm like, he was
That's
just a
why I tell
teenager.
every. Yeah, literally, I was actually talking about this not that long ago with another former wrestler whose name I won't disclose because I don't want people then going crazy. Like, you speak to this person? But I have a friend who actually told me the other day that he actually had to go back to 2012 and delete all the things he posted back in 2012 because people were starting to look at the things that he was posting when he was in middle school. And he was like, listen, I was born and raised in the ghetto. So the things that I would say online would be the things that people were saying in the ghetto. So who I am today does not define who I was growing up. And I was like, that's my same issue. How I was raised, I'm from New York. I was born and raised in New York. So I a lot of girl, your cat is possessed. Get some holy water, do something. But
Yes.
no, but all jokes aside, I was raised in New York, so there now when I'm around wrestling, like when I go to every promotion, I try my hardest to speak to them in a very proper way. And even on my day-to-day life, I try to speak to everybody in a proper way. But I'm from New York, so when I go to New York or I'm around my friends that are New Yorkers, my New Yorker accent comes out. And then I say things that people are like, oh, why would you say that? And I'm like, yeah, because in New York, they don't care. Like everybody in their mom, like, see, my New Yorker's trying to come out right now. Like everyone talks like that. Okay. So it's very difficult for me to like turn off and on. But when I'm in a professional environment, yeah, she's gone. She's far away. Unless I get mad, then she's out and the hoops are out and my hair is up. And yeah, that's a whole different story.
And I get that. My dad, he's from New York, and sometimes like he just be talking and like he's not mad or anything. I'm like, are you okay? You seem mad. And
And
he's like,
think you
no.
mad? Yeah.
Like and sometimes like he's louder than me, and I'll give him that. Like, well, sometimes. But like at wrestling, like Rembrandt, who I was just speaking of, he's also from New York. So like when they talk, I'm like, oh, okay. That's just new. Like there's so many like slang words and stuff. I'm like, what are you saying? And like my dad says it to my uncle all the time. Like he has this whole like thing. Like I'm like, what are you saying? Like it's funny. I'll have to text you after what they say. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Like you're saying goodbye, but like there's all those extra words I don't understand.
Yeah. There's so
But
many ways to say goodbye that everybody thinks that's very offensive. I'm like, no, child, that's how we talk. That's how we say goodbye, hello, can I get that? What are you doing? Like
yes.
it's horrible, but yeah.
You could turn it into like that one word will turn into like 50 words and a whole conversation after be like, okay, so
Can I say a curse word here or like yeah, like
yeah.
okay. I was gonna say I actually just said that the other day about the word bitch. Like the word bitch has so many definitions. And like someone asked me the other day, they were like what? And I was like, well, you can be mad and say bitch, or you can be happy and be like bitch, or you can be like calling your friend and be like, yo, bitch, I'm talking to you. Like you can say that word in so many ways. Or like when you see that one good friend that you know is like your really close friend, or like a friend that you haven't seen in a while, you'll be like, bitch, where you been? Like it's used now in such different ways that you're just like, what the hell? Like,
No.
did they curse each other? And it's like, no, the world's just super sensitive.
Honestly, so that's why, like, with my outside life, because like I have like my personal on Facebook, and then I have like the podcast Facebook, and it's like being on my personal, there's so many like wrestlers that I support on my own, and like because I get close to them, but I'm like, well, they might like. None of them are like that. Like, I'll give them that. But if one day they just take it offensively and put it like on their personal page, which also has my podcast page, it'll lead back to that. And I'm like, it's better to keep the drama. So I watch what I say. Like, even at wrestling, I do have a bad mouth sometimes, especially at wrestling. And like I do a little table for kids to make.
I'll be honest with you. If you're that one girl at wrestling events, yeah, continue. Us as wrestlers, people can say they hate it. No, they love it, because at the end of the day, at least there's someone interactive with the wrestler. And if you have a heel in the ring, we expect all the like, we want the fans to cheer, scream, curse. Just don't say harmful things about someone's race, gender, someone's sexuality. Like, there's no reason to do that. You can just talk about how they're working in the ring and how you don't like their character. But when it comes to personal stuff, there should be no reason that you're using someone's personal life or something that you heard in vain and throwing it out in the ring. That's not what you're there for.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I do a table, it's for like little kids.
Yeah, I say that because I've been put in those situations where I won't disclose what show it was and what promotion it was, but they know who they are. I stepped foot in the ring, and I actually had a lot of women and even children and men screaming very racial and very sexist things towards me and the other female that was in the ring with me. And it got to the point where when I went backstage that the match was done, I didn't see anything because I just ran backstage because I lost. So I was like, okay, like, let me just go run backstage. Well, coming to find out, all the wrestlers came running to me, and they were like hugging me and making sure I was okay. And I was like, what happened? I didn't hear shit. Because I zone out when I'm in the ring. I only focus on the person that I'm having a match with, and then when it's going great, then I listen to the audience's reaction and I cheer them on, like, come on guys, like whatever. But that day I didn't, because I was already informed that they were kind of being very rude. So I didn't know until afterwards, and that's why I had to part ways with any company that allows their audience to do that. I think it's very unprofessional. It's very disrespectful. There should be no reason where someone should feel like their life is in danger when they're just trying to perform.
No, definitely. Like, if the company acknowledges it and like they don't care, like, at least just tell the person and be like, you're not going to do that again. And if you do it again, you're gone. Or like, just kick them out depending on what they were saying. Like, I get like some shows are family friendly and some are like, they're bad. Well, like, if, like you said, if it comes to like your personal life and if it actually hurts you, then it's not. But
yeah.
I've been through that. I've obviously Pennsylvania based, Hazleton area, but like I took a little girls trip to like Rhode Island and Connecticut to see wrestling, and the crowds out there, especially Rhode Island, I was like, they were screaming, little kids were flipping them off. I'm like, oh, if I don't care if it's wrestling or not, if I was your age flipping a wrestler off, I would have been grounded until like 18. But like, it's cool to see the differences though. But like, if it actually hurts a wrestler's feeling, then that's what I'm saying. I'm a babyface, so I will never. But like, if you're a heel, you're gonna get it. Like, there's another wrestler, the Mecca. He's bald, and I don't care. I'll tell him that to his face. He's a bald, old, cranky man. And when he screams in the ring, all you can see is like the little veins. I'm like, bro, let me just write my little signature on your head so it can shine on your veins.
Oh wow, I'm weird.
But wrestling is a really crazy thing. Like, there's a good and then there's a bad, but
I try to see the good in everyone. I try to honestly stay positive and have my circle with positive energy in and out of the ring. Like, even in my personal life, I go through my ups and downs. I'm a human, so I cry. I don't want to talk to nobody. We're all human, so we go through our phases where everyone goes through everything, where they just shut down. But I always viewed wrestling as my way out, no matter what. And other than wrestling, music. I'm a musician. I'm a cosmetologist. I'm a model. I'm a singer, dancer, actress. I do a lot of things outside of wrestling. I post it, but on my personal stuff, not on my wrestling stuff.
Okay, I see you. I see you. So if I just need like my hair done, my nails, be like, girl, listen, we
Just
gotta
DM.
let me just
Yeah, me. We'll book you an appointment. I'll put you in my chair. You'll be fine.
right, just work your magic.
There you go.
That's great though. Like that's I have a table for little kids. They make posters and like that's why sometimes I'm like, oh god, if there's little kids at my table, I'm like, I shouldn't say that because then they're gonna go to their mama and say that, and I'll be like, I'm so sorry. But like getting into wrestling is like when you're actually invested in a match. It's like you can't.
Oh, you get a body and you're invested in a mouth, so it's fine.
Exactly. And like I walk into the wrestling, like I'm not a wrestler yet, but like when I walk into these shows and do the table, I'm like, I don't even need to hear you guys. I know I'm doing great things. I don't want to hear your negativity because I'm a bad bitch. And that's that.
Period.
Exactly. So do you have like a dream venue that you wish to wrestle in? Like obviously the big shows, but like something that's close to you in meaning.
Oh, I've actually never had this question. Hold on. Well, here's the indie scene. I want to work at a venue where I worked in the venue before, just not in wrestling. And it's in Pennsylvania. It's the 2300 building that is in Philadelphia. I've worked there before in that building, but it was not with wrestling. I did a fashion show there. I was the model. So working in that building, I was like, oh my God, this building is perfect. It's beautiful. It's everything. I got along with the owner and the event coordinator and everything. So everything was perfect. But when it comes to wrestling, I've been there when there's a bunch of wrestlers and wrestling shows happening. So I would love since I live in the PA area, I would love to work in the Philadelphia area, which is the 2300 building. And it's just like, everyone knows that building as something with wrestling. So that's why I've always wanted to work there. But when it comes to like my ultimate dream, obviously any arena or stadium that has I would love to be in contract with AEW, New Japan. I would love to go to Japan and just work with them for a good, as long as my career wants me to be there. And then, of course, the big picture will always be, I would love to make history as being the first trans woman signed to WWE. So I'm going to not say one day. I'm going to say it will happen. It will happen. We're going to manifest it. We're going to manifest La Fantasia on TV. So that's all. That's all I want in my wrestling dream. And I actually just said this earlier a few minutes ago because I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine. I actually wish that everyone that I don't wish it just for me. I wish it for everyone that I have worked with and friends and fans who are wrestlers that have supported me. I wish them nothing but success in their career.
No, yeah. And like there's a wrestler, his name's Keikoa. And like every time I talk to him,
love Keikoa. I love his wife Sammy and his beautiful 2 daughters.
They are the best. I miss Sammy so freaking much. Every time, like I got so close to them, like with the COVID era, and like that's when they moved to Florida. And I will cry. I love like I've seen Keikoa earlier this year, but like it's been a minute. But like
So,
Sammy,
crazy. No one actually knows this. Like, not a lot of people know this, but my first actual in-ring encounter was me versus Sammy and Keikoa versus a gentleman named Marcy Cabrera, who actually it was all there in Sanctuary Sun Studios here in Hazleton.
the world is so small.
I know. I met them there, and I was added, mind you. I wasn't fully trained yet. Like, I just learned how to jump top rope. I just learned how to, roll properly. I remember I was still fresh, and Sammy asked John Trotsky if I can be a part of the story because she wanted an angle with another female. And Trotsky actually told her, yes, I actually am training a female. And ever since that, I always tell her I will always love you. I support you guys for everything. Kakoa is amazing. I love that man. I am so proud of everything he has done, especially out there in Florida. I tell him, you want to adopt me? I'll be your daughter.
Right? Oh my
But no,
gosh. I
I love both. They're amazing, and their daughters are freaking gorgeous.
I know. I miss Tammy so much because I don't. She's came only. I think she only came up once since they moved to Florida, and I'm like, Keikoa, I do love you, but I miss Sammy even more. Like, because they literally seen me grow up in the wrestling scene.
Ring. That's what I need. I need Sammy back in the ring. See my girl back in the ring kicking some butt because she was a butt kicker. And
Exactly.
I never got to have a one-on-one match with her, so I'm waiting for it.
Right? And like, we love you, Keikoa. We do. But Sammy,
I love you, bro. I love you. I support you. You're doing amazing. I gotta send you nothing but blessings. But I'm gonna need Mama Kakoa to get in the ring again. I need to face her one career.
Exactly. It's been way too long for her. And I'm so excited. Like that moment she gets, I don't care where it's at. If it's in Florida, I am taking that trip to see her return. I don't care.
Oh, she better return close. Well, I'm around the area. I don't care. Lord, I'll fly to her.
Right? Like that. I'll be like, I'll tell my mom and dad, I'll be like, sorry guys, I'm just going to Florida just to see a wrestling show.
I'll be back at midnight.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll catch a flight in. Like, I'll pull a Keikoa, catch a flight in, go to the show, and catch the flight out, and then that's it.
There you go. That's all that counts.
But no, like speaking of Keiko, like he's like one I like. Obviously, I'm so close with him and Sammy, and he's like the one that I'm like, well, if I get there one day, like if I go to like move to Florida and train with him, he's like, no, you manifest it and you say I will get there one day. So like that was like what you were saying. I was like, oh, does she know Keiko?
I do, but I never know he says that because I'm actually, as much as I support Coco and he knows that because I like send him a little message here and there, but I always comment on Sammy because me and Sammy will always have that bond from not only just being women, but just like that little special bond. Because when I started my wrestling career and I actually started doing indie shows, they actually surprised me one time and they showed up to one show that I was doing at a mall. And they were there to see another friend, but when they saw that I was there, oh my God, Sammy ran backstage and was like, I saw you. And I just like, I almost cried and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, I'm grateful for the women that have supported me in my early stages of my career, like Sue Young, Nyla Rose, Melina from WWE, Jamie Senegal, freaking like all these women that like I've met. I'm very grateful till this day that if I were to run into them, I know that they won't forget me and they actually remember who I am. So it's very meaningful to me to see that they all still remember me and connect with me. And once in a blue, they'll each send me a message here and there. So I'm very blessed to say that I've been guided into ways where it's like a good thing, not too bad.
Yeah. And like I love the whole manifesting thing, and like I say it all the time. I was talking to Kiko, I'm like, and not just Kiko, but anyone. I'm like, well, I've been stuck at 95 subscribers for like 2 weeks now. Like, what if I never get there? And they're like, no, you say you are gonna get there. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever.
You got this. Don't worry.
Exactly. Okay. So we set out like a dream venue, but is there anywhere that like you wrestled and you're like, I will wrestle there anytime I get the opportunity?
Everywhere, honestly. Japan, I would drop everything if Japan said, hey, can you come out here? Like, I would literally quit my job and say, bye, guys. Okay. Japan called. Like, I would drop everything because I'm someone, so other than WWE and everything, I actually fell in love with the art of wrestling from New Japan. And the older that I got, I actually even fell in love with lucha. So when it came to watching lucha growing up, like I was intrigued to see how the women were not like WWE. The women in lucha were hitting as hard as the men and going through tables, hitting themselves with glass. Like if you watch early WWE compared to early lucha women, it's complete opposite. They didn't care. And even in Japan too, like they going in. They were going in, and that's why like I've been intrigued. The older that I get, the older I'm more intrigued of like learning different cultures' way of wrestling, and like lucha. And I've been learning lucha for 5 to 6 years here and there, and I'm not the best, but that doesn't mean I can't defend myself. And I will learn completely because I did fall in love with the whole journey of learning about it. And with Japan also, like I love the art of learning something new in wrestling. And it's just so crazy to me because every single time I learn new stuff in the ring, I feel like I'm a trainee again, where I'm like, oh, we can do that. Oh, let me do it again. Hold on, how was it? And I'll be like, touch your arm this way. And I'm just like, okay, let me do that. Like, come here, come here. So like I'm always learning something new because the one thing with me is I'm bad with names. So like when I'm in the ring, I'll be like, go under me, go hit me, do whatever. Because names are like are something that I'm remembering now, but before, oh, I was bad. I used to just tell them, hit me, do whatever. I'll sell it. But we're good now.
I feel you with the names. Like it's not even just in wrestling. Like at my job, there's like I work at a grocery store, so there's so many different departments, and like sometimes there's like two of the same person. And funny occurrence, I just went to one of my coworkers. I think it was yesterday, like 2 days ago. I was like, "Oh hi," and like I said the name, and he's like, "That's not me. That's the." I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
Hey,
But like I'm terrible with names. Like especially like either I'm terrible with them and I only know the faces, or I will call you by the wrong name. Like especially in wrestling. So it's
there you
I
go.
think I mean the names for me and the moves are so hard. Like I say it every time. I think I just want to be a manager. Like I see the moves and work you guys put on, and I'm like good for you, but not for me. Cause like I will cry if I get smacked the wrong way. I'll be like, oh my gosh, my head hurts. So I rather just stay on the outside.
I've had those moments where
Yeah.
in the ring I've gotten like lightheaded or like I'm out of breath. Someone chopped me the wrong way, and instead of chopping me on my chest, they chopped me on my neck. So like I've had my hair ripped out of my head. Like I used to wear a wig, and I'll wear her back, soon. Just don't pull my hair. But I don't think it was debuted, but one show that I did, my wig completely was ripped off in front of all the audience.
Oh my.
And I didn't run away. I just said, whatever, I got real hair under this. I like, well, this is my hair. This is not a wig. But I was like, what's up? Like, I got hair under it. I don't care. Take my wig cap. What's up? I'll finish this match. And I finished the match. And I walked away holding the rest of the wig that was taken off of me and the one piece that was glued to my forehead. I was like, you know what? I still look cute with my 3 hairs on my forehead. Let's go.
I mean, I give you that, but I probably would have like died. I'll be like, nah, that's it.
Yeah. When they ripped, I felt the ripping in the back of my head. And the wrestler that did it, I won't say who it was because he was so embarrassed. He actually didn't even want to go backstage because he was like, she's gonna punch me. She's gonna hit me. Because I always say when I used to wear a wig in the wrestling, when I used to wear my wigs in the match, I used to tell everyone, mimic that you're going to pull my hair or tell me that you're gonna mimic it. Don't actually pull because I think that's very unprofessional. If I'm letting you know it's a wig, don't pull on it. Even though she's, put correctly down where she's not going to move anywhere. But sometimes people are very aggressive and not being, like they're not aggressive that they want to. It just happens. And the one day, yeah, like he pulled the crap out of my hair and ripped the whole back of the wig off my head. And it was sewn down and everything. So he ripped even the lining that was in my natural hair. And I ran backstage afterwards. And I'm grateful that I had, I was the only female at that show. So a bunch of the wrestlers were like hugging me and trying to cover me. And as I'm like trying to put the wig back, I'm like, can I glue her back in? What's going on? And then when I went home, I had to take everything off. And I was like, well, looks like I'm wrestling my natural hair tomorrow.
That's I don't know, man. I give you props for just continuing and be like, that's it. I would have. That's why.
Like I have hair under the wig. I just like that's my hair. And the one thing with me is I If you look at my journey in wrestling, I've changed my hair color at least 3 to 4 times. And it's because as a female, you never find your trademark look. So Charlotte's trademark is glitz and glam, belong platinum hair, platinum blonde hair. Sasha Banks went from, you know, Sasha Banks the boss and she had purple hair to the blueprint when she had her blue hair. Bailey went from her ponytail to the bob. So it's like even Becky went from a nice ginger to straight up orange. And then she did put some blonde in it, then she did orange, then she did blonde, and then like it's like every woman in the industry always has a signature thing. And for me, I have my signature thing, but when it comes to my hair, I haven't really found. And I'm still in the journey of finding that signature hair that I want to just maintain. Everyone keeps telling me that it's my curly hair. I have a lot of people that tells me it's me when I have blonde hair. A lot of people miss my red hair. But yeah, it's expensive when you have colored hair. So when you pay me, then I'll keep it. In the meantime, she going away.
That I was literally just gonna say that. Like I'm a natural, like I have natural brown hair, and like I switched to like some blonde in it, and I was like, okay, well I'm tired of this, and like I went full red, and I'm like, well red fades so fast, and I have to get it done like every 2 weeks, and like that's a lot of money. So then I switched to purple, and then I'm like, well let me go back to red. So I have the red and
I've,
blue.
I've never done blue, but I don't want to do blue because everyone has blue right now. But
Yeah.
I don't want to do blue because a lot of my friends have blue. So, but I've always wanted to try blue, purple, pink. I actually wanted to go back to blonde just so I can do the pink ends, like Alexa Bliss. But then I don't want that shade of pink. I wanted it to be something else, obviously.
Yeah, I know it now. I could talk about freaking hair. Like we just went off wrestling. We just talked about
Right?
hair now. Like it's fine.
And
But
quality.
right? So like with me, I know one day I'm switching up very soon, guys. I'm not gonna tell you what I'm changing it to, but I do want one time I want to do it like Harley Quinn because like obviously my name's Harley, so I want to have like pink or like red on one and then blue on the other, and like just have like blonde or whatever color. I think that'll be cute. So
There you go. That sounds really cute.
yeah, but that's not my next one. My next one I'm excited for because I'm tired of red. I've been red for too long. But we gotta get back on the wrestling topic. And like we kind of like you were saying before about like your wrestling name and how like it was a thing. Like I was asking so many wrestlers before because like I want to be a manager. I just want to stay on the outside and yell at you to get your ass moving. But like I'm like on my Facebook, on the wrestling Facebook, podcast, I came up with like Showtime Harley just because like I'm a host, obviously. And I'm like, well, in wrestling, if I'm a manager, like I wish to keep my name because I like my name. It's different. And I'm like, well, what would my manager name be like? It's hard.
I feel like because you're young, you still have time, girl. You still got time. Think about it, but also stand out. Don't have a name that someone else already has. And even if they do have it, figure out a way to make it your own.
Yeah, exactly. So I
That I recommend you. Like actually sit down and the best thing for you to do is if you think about it, talk to someone who's like a ring announcer and give them a list of names and say, "Hey, announce these names to see if it will, I want to know how it would sound when you announce my names. I want to see if it will fit with me or if I would be okay being called that for a while."
yeah, cause
Because
like
that's
you could.
I actually had a friend who is the ring announcer, and I had him like when I came up with La Fantasia, I actually called him and I was like, "Hey, do me a favor." He's like, "What?" And when I told him like, "Hey, like, can you announce this for me by the over the phone?" He was like, "Are you serious right now?" I was like, "I'm super serious. Just announce it. I just want to know how you would say it." And when he said it and the way he said it, I was just like, this is the one. I'm good. Let's go."
It's that's probably such a great experience. So like just wrestling, actually being like in it, like I love yelling and I love yelling at people. So I think being a manager suits me more than being a wrestler. So I think it'll be
Baby,
fun,
come on, girl, go ahead. You be yelling.
right? Like if you're ever at a show I'm at, you'll definitely hear me and my dad because we loud for real. But in the chat, really quick, sorry. But in the chat, we have the Pro Wrestling Podcast saying, "Hello, Ronnie."
Hi.
Then my dad has a question. He goes and says, "What goes through your mind before you walk? Well, when you're like walking towards the crowd and like the ring, what is going through your mind?"
Don't fall. Don't fall. I hope nothing inappropriate is showing. I hope, like, don't forget what you're going to do. Don't forget to give them an entrance, because at the end of the day, just don't walk out there, handshake everybody, and get in the ring. Like, give someone an actual entrance. That's the one thing that makes you stand out as a wrestler. If you have an actual entrance that people will truly care about and respect you for, that would be not, if even if it's a tribute to someone who did it before. Like mine's a tribute to Melina, because when me and her actually talked about it, I actually met her a week before my debut, and I told her I don't have an entrance, and she asked me, "Can you do the split?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a former gymnast, but I don't have an entrance." She said, "Do mine." And when she said that to me, I was like, "No, no." I was like, "Oh, you crazy." I told her, I was like, you flexible. I'm flexible, but you flexible. And she just laughed and she was like, "If you love me, you will do it." And literally when she said, "If you love me," I was like, "Bitch." I was like, "God." I was like, "Okay, then yeah." Because everyone that knows me knows that my top 4 females that I idolize in wrestling have been, my number 1 is China, my number 2 is Melina, and 3 and 4 is Trish. And other than Trish, it has always been Awesome Kong.
Okay.
So, or as people in WWE know her, Karma. Like I love those 4 women because 2 of them are just beautiful, but they dominated even in the male industry. And then 2 of them were just gorgeous, beautiful, sexy, and they would dominate to the point where they stood out more than the men. So I always grew up to know, and even when I was in my journey as my transition, I was, doing wrestling, like not doing wrestling, I was learning about wrestling and everything. I always said, but if they can be sexy and still beat the crap out of everybody, why can't I be sexy and beat the crap out of everybody?
I love that. I'm gonna make that a poster. Be like, "You're sexy, beat the crap out of them."
There you go. Next.
Or just for you. Just be like,
Yeah.
"Girl."
Put my name. Ronnie says, "When you're sexy, beat the crap out of everybody." Okay.
Exactly, right? Oh no. Oh, I was gonna say we lost you for a second. I was like, "Oh no, here it begins."
I was like, "No, I've been here the whole time."
Right? So in the crowd, my dad also says it's all a process. And
Amen.
then Anthony Blackwell Jr. says, "Hey, wrestling fam." He also has a podcast, ABJ podcast, which he's great with that. He was a big help when I got started. I'm like, "Okay, I need help. What do I do?" He's the best. And then, so obviously, with that being said, so like that's going through your mind. Is there anything that you specifically do before like you come out that curtain?
So before I go out my curtain, my music actually helps me, and helps me because, so my ring song actually came from that TV show, that HBO Max TV show, that I actually have able to trademark my song, so I'm good. So you guys I can actually use my song legally. Song, it's a whole other story, but I trademarked it. I actually am one of those top 10 people that actually can use it. So ha. But I paid for it, so leave me alone, okay? I got the receipt. But I actually, when my song plays, I usually get very nervous. Like, I don't care if I'm just walking out and not doing anything. Just hearing my song, I'm like, ooh. Like, I get so nervous. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then everyone backstage, like my usual routine would always be, so I have a friend who I won't say his name, but he was always going to shows with me, and we would have a thing where it was like our little handshake. So we would do that. We would have our handshake, and then he would wait for me next to the curtain, or I would have, and when he wasn't at shows with me, I would tell our other wrestling friends like what do I do, and they'll like just saying hi or giving someone a hug is what calms me down, because then when my music hits and that little moment in the song where I open the curtains, I have to diva mode and just forget that I was backstage like hi, and just walk out like what's up, like I'm Victoria's Secret up in here.
That's great. I mean, I did a show like with my co-host at the time. There used to be two of us. We did a show in like I think it was like January, February, and like I was like a ring announcer kind of like I did interviews outside, and it was like oh my, me and her had this conversation. We were like, I gotta pee. It's just like I just did that 5 minutes ago. I'm like I can't help it. I
Oh,
gotta go.
I always have to pee.
It's so bad.
I have to pee, but then you think you have to pee, and
And you
then when you
don't.
go, there's nothing, and it's just like ooh, the stomach jitters. So it's like yeah, I get you. Yeah, I always have to. There's times that I actually do need to pee, and I still go do my match, and I'm like, don't hit me too hard.
I might go.
I might go and just throw water over me, pretend like
Yeah.
you know. But yeah,
Feel like it's just water, guys.
it's
Don't
just
worry.
water. Don't smell it. It's just water.
I love that. That's exactly how it is. So, obviously, how do you feel about like male versus female wrestling? Like not just female versus female and male versus male.
So I would be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like when nowadays there's a bunch of females in the indie scene. The thing with promoters nowadays is they don't really know how to book the females because they're too busy booking the males. So when it comes to women fighting the men, I'm not opposed to it as someone I'm not gonna lie to you, I actually sometimes do prefer wrestling men over women because sometimes I feel like because the men have a lot of strength, I'm able to do a lot of uh like top rope things. And then I'm a thick girl, so some women can't pick me up. And it's not because, oh, she's trans, she must have the same strength as a man. No, that's not true. Get your signs correctly. That's not true. That's not true at all. I'm actually weak as hell, but I just make it look like I'm strong in the ring, but I'm actually weak as hell in the day-to-day life. There's times that I still need struggles to even open a damn soda bottle. And yeah, I be breaking a sweat just trying to twist the top off. Or I have to use my teeth and I tell everybody, don't look at me. But it's like no, like I believe that women should be able to wrestle men. I don't believe in when promoters don't know how to book women. So there is no women's storytelling. There is no women's title. There is no push for the woman, even for a men's title, because it's for men. And it's like, so then why have me if you're not going to use me correctly?
Exactly. And like that's kind of the thing. There's not really like a lot of female like around this area anyways. There's not a lot of female like indie stars that like want to go out and perform. So it's like their roster is so short for the females. It's like and it's the same matches every time and like there's one title. So it's like it's always between those two females. So it's like
Yeah, and that's why I always say like when you know you can't book females like that, the best thing you need to do is have that one title or just make your company more like not exclusive only men and women, just make your company more to women can win the heavyweight title, men can win whatever title we have. Like there should be no reason why we should, like I'm not even gonna lie, I believe even WWE should have the same thing. I believe that if Rhea Ripley wants to fight Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley should go fight Roman Reigns. Or if Rhea Ripley wants to go fight freaking like Austin Theory, like go get that US title. Like she should be able to do that. Charlotte should be able to do that. When Mercedes was there, sorry. She should be able to do that. Like, I believe that if I'm a I truly believe that if I'm a star and I want that title and the promoter is allowing me to go for that title, I should get that title, whether I'm male, female, or I'm non-binary. Go ahead, you choose, you do. If my talent speaks for itself and my talent is worth heavyweight champion wise, why can't I be your heavyweight champion?
Exactly. And like they kind of did that with WWE, like the or what was it called, the 24/7 thing. But then Nikki Cross threw that in garbage, and then that's gone. But kind
No,
of.
Cross.
Was it Nikki Cross?
It was Nikki Cross.
I was gonna say, was it? I mean, I'm a wrestling fan, but I don't watch much WWE. But so Anthony Blackwell goes and says, "Who have been some of your favorite talent you have worked with in the area?" Because like he's kind of in the Hazleton area as well.
I was gonna say, isn't he in the Hazleton area? Um, in the Hazleton area.
Well, not just Hazleton, but like
And
I guess you
PA.
could say, yeah.
The PA area, actually, my top three women. No, I can't say women. I have to say men too. Um, because I was gonna say I've wrestled more men than women. No, I've wrestled both equally. I'll take that back. But I women wise, like I love working with Adina Steele. I've worked with Adina Steele like at least 4 times now. Who else? Uh, I don't know. Oh, Desi, Raina Black. I love working with Raina Black because she's actually the first woman that I met in the indie scene, and me and her actually hit it off right away. Like I never even took my first bump when I met her. So like the fact that years later I had a match with her on May 27th, and even though it ended up being a brawl, but just having to share a match with her one on one, me and her were like on cloud nine because we finally got the chance to do that. Other than Reina and Dina, I don't know. Like I love working with all the women, but those are the two that I'm like that always stood out to me because we get along so well. Not saying that all the other girls are disrespectful or anything like that. Just just like our connection in the ring was so strong, and it was just so killer to me. I'm like wow, like we didn't have to try; it just happened. Now, when it comes to men, I love share. I shared a ring with a few guys, and I shared a ring with a very close friend of mine whose name is Felipe Jr. The Lucha King. Um, I wrestled him. So many. Oh God. Especially like there's one promotion that oh my God, Tony Toxic, Nick Thompson, Brian Matthews. Who else? Oh, I feel like I should say all their names. I had every match I've had with a gentleman, or like I felt very privileged to say that I did because they actually treated me with respect, and I always told them, no, lay your hits in, like don't hold back, lay your hits in because I'm gonna lay them in. Like I'm not gonna just touch you like, hi, I'm Barbie. Here's a slap. Like, no, I would literally say, like, smack me because I smack you back. Like, I tell them all the time, this is your only time to actually be able to legally hit a woman. Okay? If you do it, you a cat. Outside of the ring, you a coward. In the ring, if the storyline is correct, let's do this.
Right? And I may not be able to wrestle right now, but that's what my brother's for. I'm like, if you gonna hit me, just know
Hey,
I'm gonna
I'll
hit you
hit you
back.
back. Yep.
And then like me and my brother, we start fighting it out. My mom will be like, if he hurts, she'll like, if he hurts you, I don't want to hear. I'm like, I'm a bad bitch. I don't care. I'll handle it.
Not the bad bitch line.
But no, like definitely Adina still. I absolutely adore her. Like me and
I
her used
love
to be
her.
so
I
close.
worked with her at the beginning of this year, and was it this year or last year? I worked with her, no, at the beginning of last year, and I haven't been able to step foot in the ring with her because she got injured, and then she to AEW, and then it's just like, she's been everywhere. But I would love for me and her to finally have a one-on-one match, because we've actually only been able to work together in triple threats.
Yeah.
So there's always been another female, but me and her never had a chance to do a one-on-one.
Yeah. And I got so close to her. Like it was the 2021 to like 2022 area, and like we were so close. Like we were locked in. But then like she got injured, and now she's getting all these opportunities, and I'm so happy for her. And I'm always gonna be there rooting
I'm
her
so
on.
proud. I'm so proud because
Exact.
I know that this is what she's always been wanting. And, again,
Yeah.
I close to some of the females, and like I get closer to some of the females outside of the ring, and like we chat sometimes here and there. And Adina is one of them where like we actually do the same thing in our personal life. We actually do the same thing for a living. So like there's times that we talk about like, girl, how's life as this and then life as a wrestler. And it's just like
Yeah.
we just laugh and we're like, girl, we do the same thing. So yeah, I have special bonds with a lot of wrestlers, and I'm very proud of.
Exactly, yeah. So Anthony Blackwell says, we said that one obviously. He goes, it says Tessa broke that mold and Impact about the like
Yes,
men
she
versus
did.
female.
And yes, she did, and that's why I say if they can do it in Impact and they can do it in every other company, including the indie scene, we should be able to face men that we know we can handle. Like, there's I'm not gonna lie. I'm not. What he said? China
And
did
then
it.
she's
Exactly. Why if China did it in WWE, they can't continue that with Rhea Ripley
right. And my dad goes and
or
says,
Charlotte.
exactly. My dad says, agreed. Tessa did break that. She would be great on this pod. I love Tessa, but she got muscle. Like I say it to wrestlers all the time, like at shows, they kind of like, do you want to fight? I'm like, no, I don't go to the gym. You probably break me. Like I'm weaker than you, so don't even. I'll like say words back and forth, but like physically, no, don't do it. But so my dad also says, yes, China also broke the mold for the Royal Rumble. And then ABJ, Anthony Blackwell, he also like he's goes to the sanctuary, I'm pretty sure. And he goes and says, I missed Ronnie by 1 or 2 seasons at the church, never called her matches.
I know, Anthony. I actually was disappointed in that the other day because I met a fan who actually told me that they wish to hear your voice saying my name and how I work in the ring. And I actually was sad because I still watch Sanctuary. I will always have a special place in my heart for Sanctuary. And I would love to one day, like, come back, because I've actually haven't been able to come back due to, unfortunate circumstances, but I haven't been able to come back as the wrestler that I am today. And I would love to come back and just face, like to just show up unexpectedly and just face like either the champ or, what would be sick, Anthony, and I know that, you being a part of Sanctuary, I would love to return to Sanctuary and be a part of the all women's shows that they used to do back in the day. And the first ever Sanctuary women's like champ was actually Britt Baker, sorry. So I would love for like Sanctuary to do it again, and for her to come back and crown someone new after all these years.
That's crazy. I never knew that. I was like you're talking about like the what that Britt Baker? Oh my
Yeah, Dr. Britt
goodness.
Baker was Sanctuary's first ever um
That's
like not women's champion because they didn't have a title, but she was throned the queen. And it was Britt. There we had a bunch of females there. We had Britt Baker, Kira Hogan, Maria Manic, Jamie Senegal, Sue Young. We had all of them there at Sanctuary, and I was baby La Fantasia. I was baby me, just dying to get in the ring with them. But they were all wonderful women to be a part and next to. So I would love to come back to Sanctuary to just do that, be a part of the all women show, and not only to just be a part of that, I would love to come back and do a season, but surprise the fans that go. And like I haven't been able to do that because again, due to unfortunate things that happen in life. But I wish them nothing but success. They're an amazing place. Trotsky is an amazing person. No matter what people say, I know that there's a lot of things that Trotsky says publicly that doesn't sit right with people, but we're all humans. We say things that we just think in the moment. We're not all perfect. No one signed up to be perfect. We're not Hannah Montana. So we I feel like we all grow no matter what mistakes we do, and at the end of the day, no one deserves to be treated or put in a category where they're unprofessional. And it's like, no, it was just a moment. And if guess what, if the moments continue, then that's on them. But there's moments that people have. No one's perfect in the day-to-day life.
Exactly, yeah. And he also says, let's make it happen someday. If you have footage with no commentary, I'll be happy to lay down some.
No, Anthony, I actually want to meet you in person so that we can actually one get my name correctly, because a lot of
Exactly.
people say it wrong. It's not Fantasia. So I want you there at an actual live event so I can take a picture with you.
Right? Like, come on. Y'all just gotta, you gotta go. Like, y'all gotta go together. So, do
Right?
you have, right? Do you have merch? And if so, where can people purchase it at?
Oh, of course. So actually, you can go to the traditional pro wrestling tees. I have a bunch of t-shirts there at the store, La Fantasia store, La Fantasia Ronnie. This like that's my little store name. You can go there, get my t-shirts there, or I actually do, because of unfortunate circumstances with other different companies, not promotions, companies with printing t-shirts. I actually do, if you DM me, I actually do send photos and calendars and t-shirts. I just need to know your size and I sign it, or depending on who it is, if I truly know who you are or you want me to do like a shout out video, I do that also.
That's amazing. So, where can they find you on like social media?
So you can find me on Instagram and on Facebook at La Fantasia Ronnie, and that's just my name everywhere. So go ahead, and on YouTube you can find me at Ronnie Flores.
Easy peasy. And another easy way to just do it is go click her little Instagram down in the link description, whatever you want to call it. But thank you so much. It was definitely like we booked a day and then like terrible with social media and then we didn't answer and then we were like, okay,
Uh,
we'll do it this
my
day.
in the way.
It was an adventure, but we got you here. And lastly, in my chat, we got my dad saying future AEW or WWE Women's Champion. Got you.
Aww.
And my dad says, I would like a shirt, but I'm extra fluffy.
Just tell me your size. I go all the way up to 4XL.
Got it. And Anthony Blackwell says the first Friday shows are the best way to come in and work. And we all about second chances and growing as people. So
Amen
amazing.
to that.
And ABJ also says, keep up the great work, Harley. Oh my God, thank you. He's another one, just like
Yeah, you're
Sammy and
such a
Kikoa.
good worker. Yeah, I'm very proud of you. You're very confident in this, and you're not second guessing what you're gonna say. So very proud of you. Continue your growth, and I will continue to support. So don't forget about me after this. Make sure you look for me. I will definitely be looking for you. Okay, sweetie. And I will, of course,
Always.
support no matter what.
Oh my gosh. Oh, stop. You're gonna make me blush. Oh my God. That's like what Rembrandt, he will always like, because there's been a time like my mental health was so bad. And like he's been through like that journey with me. And like he will always tell me, I'm here for you, kid. I'm like, stop. You're gonna make me cry. Like, not at wrestling.
There you
But that's
go.
great. I love the wrestling scene for that. Like it's a family, and like you may not get to see them every day, but like that one time you see them, it's like, oh my God, how have you been? How's life? So
Yeah,
like
I feel like every time I do that with everyone, like within 5 minutes we catch up of like months worth of not seeing each other. So yeah, I understand
it's
completely.
it's amazing. I love wrestling. But you kind of said like you're take like not much shows for June. Is so for July, you said you have a show what July 1st?
Yes, July 1st, if you go on my page, July 1st, I'll be at Frontier Pro Wrestling, and I will be there. And I actually will be having and making history at Frontier. This July 1st, I will be having the first ever main event women's match against Journey, La Fantasia versus Journey. July 1st, we will be main eventing the show as the first ever women's match for Frontier Pro Wrestling.
I think that's the show. I swear to God, I think that's the show that me and my dad we were talking about going July 1st. I swear to God, I'm pretty sure that's the show because like one of the wrestlers that we're so close with, and he's like our sponsorship guy, so like he pays for all of it. His name is Lucius Crow, and like he's like, we'll have a show July 1st. I'm like, kind of sounds familiar. Like it's either that 5-star or Icons, and I'm like, I think it's that one because I remember seeing you on the page like with blonde hair. It's like I think that's the one. But if it is, we have to get a picture.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Just DM me and let me know. I got you.
I'll be like, I'll be there. I'll be there. You'll hear me.
Good. That's all I need. I need to hear someone I know.
Exactly, right? So and then Anthony goes and says, once I get my car fixed, I'll come hang out with you in the crowd at PPW. Okay, we'll see you there. We got to get you at PPW too.
And that's my goal too, actually. I've been waiting to have an opportunity to actually get booked at PPW. So fingers crossed, guys. I actually really do enjoy watching their things, and that company is doing amazing. So I would love to be a part, at least for one season at PPW. I would love to be a part of what they bring. I would love to be a part of many promotions. So PPW is just one of them in the list.
Exactly. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for coming on and taking your time. I think this has been like one of the longest podcasts, but I love it. Like we were just
I looked at the time and I'm like, ooh.
I'm like, it's almost midnight. Like I'm okay with it. Like we were talking about hair. We don't have many like female wrestlers come on because like they always like charge or they don't feel safe because with the nails, but that's fine. But like we get to talk about nails and hair and all that. But I gotta DM you, be like, girl, you gotta come work your magic on me.
We're in the same town, so we'll talk after. We'll talk after.
Y'all have a great night. Bye.
Have a good night.